Oh, hey, hey there. Sorry about that. I'm getting. I need a producer. Anyway, we're adding a couple other platforms in addition to stations, and I'm trying to get this one live. And I thought I had enough time with the music, and there I go thinking again. 99.1 WDJY. It's 11:03. Hello, Atlanta, Tampa, Las Vegas. Trying to get them for this week, but definitely by next week we will be adding another swing state. And something I got to do here to just continue to go live on some other platforms. I Instagram's really important because they send messages, alerts to my followers right away. But there's so much that I got to do manually to make that happen, and it's if it wouldn't be for the alerts, I wouldn't be wasting time. Come on your show and interview you first, and then try the idea out if that works. Yep, David Beckmeyer is going to be joining us at some point soon. Not today, but at some point. Uh, Good dude. I really love what he's doing. Outrage Overload is just something it's a must listen if you're in politics, if you were in anything where there's discussion. It just keeps you grounded, and I think he does a great job at it. And so we're experimenting with the concept of get rid of some stuff here. We're experimenting with the concept of co-hosting a joint show. So he comes on up the middle, asks me things here on up the middle. Well, I ask him things in a recorded version of that he'll repurpose for an episode of Outrage Overload. I like that. You know, we're not just that we're like-minded. There's certainly things that we're going to disagree on. But Brandon Messina is checking back in. This guy's so weak. So this Brandon Messina guy, he's a good-looking dude. That's the only reason I friended him. Clearly, because obviously he's not too bright. He's a Trump supporter. I got to tell him I'll tell you. This is a recent post too, so I gotta. So anyway, he's a decent enough looking guy. I mean, he's a good looking guy actually, but apparently not too bright. To another GOP jump ship. So today, I got to go through everything, and we'll talk about Dickhead in a minute. Bias Part 2. We never really finished the conversation we were having about bias yesterday. And as such, I don't even really think that I finished the Pierre's pot for Alex. So we'll go back and we'll touch on a bunch of that. Pierre's pot will be at the end for the Tuesday through Thursday segments. And you know what? I don't even have a morning motivation for today. Oh my God, that's so fitting, but I talked about it a month ago. I was just going to talk about Damon John from Fubu and Shark Tank. You're not stuck where you are unless you decide to be. And yeah. Yeah, and this is a bunch of. I've been. This is what we're going to talk about today. Gary V checking in, and part of the issue with the morning motivation, I was doing it last and leaving you with that, but then I was running over, or in the Monday Friday episode, I was saving it to the end, which was in the afternoon. So, so much for that Monday or morning. But today, Gary V. Today's morning motivation: skills are cheap. I'm gonna try to share this too. Skills are cheap. Passion is priceless. Yeah, let's take that stuff down. I told you, I've got to get. And yeah, see, there's that up. If you're listening and you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, I just spent the past 9 minutes not on camera because it wasn't up. I wasn't on camera. There we are. We're here, and get our flag up there too, supporting Ukraine to piss off more Republicans. Now we go. Now we're running, and by the time I get all this figured out, the show's gonna be over. Skills are cheap. Passion is priceless. Yeah, well, I keep screwing stuff up today, so that's good because I'm passionate about it. Passionate about my screw ups. But seriously, we've been, everybody, Sportcat, Outrage Overlord, David Beckmeyer, Glenn Jackson before that, Sportcat. We've all been hitting brick walls of some sort throughout this whole broadcasting process. We keep going. We're passionate about what we're talking about. We're knowledgeable about what we're talking about. And that's going to win. Same thing about 2 weeks from today. The countdown begins. 14 days away. If we're not including today or not including the day we land or whatever. 2 weeks from today. Boom. Count them. 2 weeks from today is, I'm going to design the perfect tumbler. Election day, where lots of passion will be coming to fruition. And when I talk about passion, I'm not the most animated guy in a lot of cases. Sometimes I get pissed, and I think that's probably the best type of scenario. When you see somebody that's pissed off, but they're always animated, they're always throwing their arms up and down, it gets old. But when the quiet guy speaks, another one we had already, Bruce Lee, be afraid of the quiet person in the room. Because when that person speaks, they likely know what they're talking about because they've been sitting there listening. But passion doesn't have to be animated, loud, or vocal. Well, the time was just 11, 12, 13. And my clock has seconds on it too. Anyway, it doesn't have to be loud, vocal, and apparently verbally or mentally all over the place. Passion is a collection, I think, of determination, love, I think skill, because that passion is going to get you enough practice to get you perfect practice to become perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. That's why in the gym, I am a bitch about form, proper form. That's why here I'm very critical of not what I say. I know what I'm going to say, but how I say it. Today, I tried to have things in better order, still screwed some stuff up. We'll fix that tomorrow. We will constantly come back. And I think that's the passion. Sylvester Stallone's character in the movie Rocky talked about not just how hard you can get hit, but about how hard you can get hit, keep getting back up, and keep moving forward. That's passion. Sometimes, where was that? I saw some competitor like that win a fight with a broken leg because of passion. I've said this before, and I hope he listens sometime. I don't want to tag him because it's kind of weird, but maybe I will later. Recently, I've friended my junior high wrestling coach. Shout out to Mark Fluharty, one of the top insurance agents in Boyertown, Pennsylvania, my hometown, who constantly yelled at us, "How bad do you want it?" I know now the reason why I sucked in wrestling is because I really didn't want it. Dr. Alan Fager, our principal, talked us all into being student athletes because when you're in all three seasons, fall, winter, and spring, those students tend to get better grades. I think it was partially right because you keep moving, you keep doing things, you just don't stop. And a lot of those things you're doing is your homework. But I did not have the passion for junior high wrestling, which is why after ninth grade, I didn't wrestle anymore. No, I think it was after eighth grade. I didn't wrestle anymore. I think I did it in like seventh and ninth, or excuse me, seventh and eighth, or eighth and ninth. I did it for 2 years, and I said, no, hockey is my thing. And I developed the skills to become a quality hockey referee. Been to the Olympic Training Center in New York twice. Didn't go there for wrestling. And while I didn't make it to the NHL, I did do some cool things before moving on with my life and made it to the NHL, or the Major League Baseball of law enforcement, one of the leagues of the major leagues of law enforcement, 21 years in the Secret Service. I had a passion for that. Yeah, let's talk about that. I wanted that so bad. It was the only federal agency that I applied for. I would never recommend a young cadet, trainee, whoever, do that. That's not smart. Get into federal law enforcement with whatever agency you can get. I guess I just shared that to the community. Get into law enforcement with whatever agency you can get, thereby getting your, I gotta fix my clip-on mic here for my phone, thereby getting your security clearance. Then go to wherever you want to be, FBI, DEA, Secret Service, IRS, whatever. But I was so passionate about the Secret Service. It was the only agency I applied to. And in my first application, when I didn't get hired, and I got what's called a BQA letter, stands for Better Qualified Applicant. The thanks, but no thanks letter. I was reading it right at the front door of my mom and dad's house. I dropped it when I read that I wasn't getting hired. Ran up the stairs, jumped to my bed, and started crying. Full grown man, going to take a bullet for the president, crying like a baby because he can't. That sounds passionate. Within the next year, I would receive a call asking if I was still interested. And if so, could we begin the process of updating my file with them and moving forward? And long story short, within the next 6 months, I would be spending the next 21 years catching bullets. And I had a passion for that too. When I lost that passion, when I wasn't being utilized to the best of my ability and to my full potential, when I realized that it was no longer a career, it was just a job, with a 6-figure job, but just a job, and that they would pay me almost 6 figures to not come in anymore. It's like, bye. Because there are other things that are priceless. There are other things that I have passion for. Living here in rural Tampa, even still cleaning up from Helene and Milton. I mean, Milton, not so much for me, but Helene. I still love this neighborhood. Would definitely buy again here, especially some of the other things I know going on. It'll be a good investment. Promise you that. If only my baby brother was listening now, because he wants to buy here. I don't know. Maybe don't disconnect me from social media. So passion is more than just throwing your arms around. Passion is more than just being a loud mouth. Passion is more than just walking back and forth on a stage with some headphone microphone, like you're giving some damn TED talk. Passion is getting up every day. When you're retired, could be sleeping until 11, 20, 50, 11 minutes, 11 hours, 20 minutes, and now 55 seconds. I'm having fun with the second hand on that, or the second counts on that clock. I don't know why. Passion is not stopping when people tell you you can't. In fact, everyone who tells me I can't, I write that down. Because when I do it, they're the first ones I call. Oh, yeah. Tell me I can't grow this radio show. Tell me I can't grow this station. Tell me I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I am. And maybe I'll fix it. But if you're telling me that I'm doing it wrong because I'm doing it wrong, then I'm all ears. But if you're telling me that I'm doing it wrong because it's not how you would do it, fasten your seatbelt because you're going to go for a ride. And you ain't driving. You guys know the pissing match that I had with a now former mentor about 2 weeks ago. I was just talking about that incident with some other folks that were on that call. First, I was impressed and grateful. 11/22/44. Oh, play those numbers. First, I was grateful that they even wanted to hear additionally from me. To be treated fairly like that is a good feeling. They were showing passion for the truth. And all I wanted to do was make a point about Ron DeSantis. I didn't need to. I think anybody with a brain knows he's an asshat. We'll talk more about that today. But this now former mentor of mine said I was the one. Oh, I wish I caught this during the call. Said that I was the one that was being childish. I was trying to speak, and he would move my profile to the audience, meaning that I'm not up on stage. If you're in the audience, you sit there and you listen, so you can't speak. So he kept moving me to the audience, and I think it was Julie, shout out to Jules, would move me back up and say that's wrong. And stood up for me saying, hey, you want to let this other guy, this goofy Johnny guy, tell about how he was in Tennessee before anybody to rescue people from Hurricane Helene. Why wasn't FEMA there? And then when I posted that on Facebook, because that's what you do when you're about to rescue people, you post on Facebook. Hey, everybody, Johnny has arrived on scene. Mark me here, dispatch. Nobody cares, Johnny. He got all pissed off when FEMA got pissed off. Like, it's their show. It's North Carolina's show. It's Tennessee's show, wherever state you're in. Not yours. You're a volunteer. Know your place. Stay in your lane. His passion was ego. But they continued that by saying, oh, some certain people, the Biden administration, don't like when you tell the truth. Let's talk about your guy. And that's going to get us into the conclusion of yesterday's conversation about bias right after we come back. There we go. 99.1 WDJY, 1490. I got a bunch now, and I've got them all written down. I'm not going to go through all of these every time I do call signs, but WDJY is our primary because we're there every day of the week. America One Radio, I think, is the same thing. That's the progressive station. Both are in Atlanta. 1340 AM and 106.1 FM WTAN. 1350 AM and 102.3 WDCF. Dade City. Those are right now Friday, our first hour. Our second hour is 1490 WWPR, Bradenton. That's on Friday. And also starting next Friday for sure, trying to work in this Friday, KSHP, Las Vegas. I got to talk with the GM there about which hour, if not both, are available on Friday. I think there's one that's not available. And, of course, Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, the UG, as in like the underground, .media in London, England. And, of course, the rest of the Mastiff Media and ever-growing network. We'll be back after this. Does your house smell nasty? Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yerg's. I'm burning right now leather-scented candle. That's right, leather-scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yerg's and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl. retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yerg's Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your website doing? I'll tell you how mine's doing. It's awesome. Yergs.com is gotta be the best website for anybody in podcasting or any sort of broadcast solo journalist like me. How did I get that? Limit Break Digital. Limit Break Digital did my website with Yergs.com. They did YergerGroup.com. They take care of my marketing, my branding, and help me get the message out to you. Go to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs for 10% off your next project. That's a $3,000 site, Yergs.com. And you can get 10% off that by just going to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs today. Talk to Jay. That's my guy. We all got a guy, and Jay's mine. Limit Break Digital.
There we go. I know you can hear the AC running in the background. Sorry about that. But it's that time of day. 1-888-88-YERGS or 1-844-844 gay LGBT. That's right. Gay LGBT. Call us on either one of those. Let me know if you think I am too far left. That is apparently what Eric from Boyertown thinks, what we were talking about yesterday. And my counter to that is not that I'm too far left. I have plenty of issues with the left. Not as many, but it's not because of my personal bias or because I, love one side of the or the other more. It's just that the GOP is keeping me busy. That's it. I'll be critical of Kamala when she wins, if necessary, but I'll also be supportive if deserved. And that's what's so forgotten. That is what people don't want to admit to, fess up to. Hey, that's a good idea. Well, both of them. So if you like the idea with Trump and you work in some industry that's cash and or tax-free, will you still like the idea when Kamala Harris is the one enforcing it? So now that we're talking about my bias, let's see where you rank. Where do you fall? Don't forget, you can also chat if you're watching or listening. Also, oh my God, my poor dog. He has this gastrointestinal thing. I don't know if you heard that in the background. But yeah, we take him for a walk. He does number 1 and 2. It seems to fix it, and then not so much. Let me know. Am I a libtard? Am I too far left for whatever? And maybe I got to straighten out a little bit. Tell me. I'm game. I'll hear you out. Trying to clean up my desktop a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, just looking for the notes. So, yeah, Eric said that I need to show love, and I didn't go back to find it. I'm not going to include this in today's show notes because it was in yesterday's. But I need to go back and, I need to find love for the GOP. I've got love for the GOP. I've got love for Republicans. I have a lot of love, respect, and admiration for Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger, Liz and Dick Cheney, and the 200 or 300 other GOP Republicans who have stepped up and turned their voice up, spoke up against something that this isn't a phenomenon, it's a plague. He is so baffling. He is so. I don't know how else to explain it or what to call it. Is he filled with a bunch of sore losers? Like, have all these people dug their heels in so hard that no matter how obvious, they just refuse. Oh, this poor dog. I just want to hug him. But I think he wants to be left alone. They just refuse to see what to so many people is obvious. I'm not a Democrat, by the way. Never have been, never will be. I've always been an independent voter, non affiliated, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called, wherever you're at. And the reason for that is, as a political scientist and historian by education, that's my degree. Should I ever come to a position such as this, where I use that information, where I use that knowledge, where I use that skill set, where I use my 21 years in the Secret Service for purposes of discussing politics. If I do so as a Democrat, well, then you're going to know I'm a Democrat. And I'm going to say something that supports the Democratic Party or their movement or whatever. And you're going to go, well, duh, you're a Democrat. Likewise, the other way around. Now, that doesn't mean that I register independent as a secret Democrat. No. And I'm starting to get to the opinion, I don't know why these certain things fall on the political spectrum the way they do. Now, I'll talk about it in a second. But for example, I have more guns staged throughout the country than most of you have in your bedroom closet. And I can still get to those weapons rather quickly. And that's not counting the ones that are in my own bedroom closet. Now, for some reason, exercising your right of the Second Amendment is a conservative viewpoint. I don't know how that ever got there. But that's who defends that more often than not. That being said, Kamala Harris, by her own words, is a gun owner. So there's that. I don't see a big collection of guns happening anytime soon, even with her being from the uber liberal state of California. And we talked about that stat over a year ago, when Up the Middle was only podcast, was not on the radio yet. We did a election episode, and one of those stats was 20% of all Democrats carry a gun. Not are pro Second Amendment, but carry a gun. So if there's 100 Democrats in the world and 20% or 20 of them carry a gun, then it's probably safe to assume that there are more Democrats who are pro Second Amendment without carrying every day. Well, if our nation is split relatively 50-50, and we know that the bulk of Republicans are going to be pro Second Amendment, isn't adding, call it 30% of the other party, making it a little difficult to seize anything? And it's going to be the same argument for the Roe gang, the Dobbs crew. There are 37% of Republicans that are pro-choice. So why guns fall on the conservative side of the political spectrum, I'll never know. Why religion falls on the conservative side, when I've taken just as many, not more, Democrats to church than any possible dates for Republicans. I say that, as a Secret Service agent, I've gone to church more times with the Clintons, Jimmy Carter, the Obamas. I was one of the intelligence agents for an Obama visit that was close to my house in D.C. I made sure mom and dad were at that. They loved that. And then Joe Biden is a Catholic, for God's sake. He doesn't walk by an offering plate and say, what a sham that is. Like some conservative, Bible thumping, God-fearing, whatever you want to call the people who supposedly support Donald Trump. So I'll be critical of Kamala, especially once they're in the White House. And Trump, we got nothing to say about him anymore. My scrutiny will be turned up for both Kamala and Tim. Of course. But like I said in the one comment to somebody, I think this was just an off-the-wall commenter critiquing my so-called political balance. I'm just as for some libtard as I am some Bible thumper. I am for balance. That's it. Balance. So instead of staying that, brain farting here, instead of staying that everything's got to be down the line, Republican, conservative, whatever, not everybody's built that way. I've got plenty of conservative values that, oh God, now I'm yawning. I've got plenty of conservative. Am I boring you too? Jesus. I've got plenty of conservative values that, for whatever reason, are labeled as, like I said, quote unquote, conservative, that I got to think about, that I don't really know are one or the other. They're human values. I've spent my life being impartial, from being a baseball umpire since 12, a hockey referee at 13, police officer, special agent, whatever. Now people want to concern themselves with my bias. My bias is balanced. The field out there in politics land, not so much. And when these people from the GOP particularly, and I've hit, like Bob Menendez, other prominent GOPers, if just a total brain fart and forget where that was going. Oh, yeah. If the GOP slows down a little bit, behaves himself for a day, perhaps I could get caught up. But they're keeping me a little busy. So, all right. Yeah. Enough rambling. I do got to take one more quick break. When we come back, Pierre's Pot, I think, is next. Yep. Oh, I got some local news, too. We're going to start talking about that, especially Tuesday through Thursday. Local news, Pierre's Pot, and we'll wrap it up for the day. And, I'm going to just hug my poor dog. 99.1 WDJY and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. It's up the middle. We'll be back after this.
From iHeart Podcasts.
What the hell is going on in here?
Everyone has their limits.
I'd never confronted a situation like this.
The numbers were being inflated and lied about and conflated.
I just thought it was just a really terrible, immoral thing for him to do.
A line they won't cross.
I was stunned, and I just said to him, no.
We're killing people. What exactly are we doing here?
I remember him saying, in this 007 evil villain kind of way, this is the beginning of a process.
You may never have to face that decision. When you find yourself at that line,
Thoughts racing, hearts racing, emotions are all over the place.
They could be harassed, they could be imprisoned, they could be killed.
Somebody needs to just, for once, give everybody the whole truth.
I'm like, this is evil.
and the only person who can sound the alarm is you.
She folded it up, put it in her pantyhose, and walked out of the building.
Yeah, I really am the world's dumbest criminal.
These are the whistleblowers.
I wasn't just going to sit silently by.
I was told you take your questioning black self and get it on up out of my facility because you're trouble.
The message is, if you are disloyal, if you speak out, you will pay.
This is what it's like when the president decides he wants to destroy you.
Bad things are going to happen to him. You're an anti-American. You are a disgrace to our country. He should be prosecuted.
When power corrupts, conscience is the last line of defense.
Is it ever too late to do the right thing?
We talk about institutions, but they're really about individual people.
The responsibility drops in everybody's lap.
I'm Miles Taylor. The Whistleblowers premieres Thursday, July 13th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Check out Miles Taylor and the Whistleblowers. I've referenced that plenty of times throughout Up the Middle, Both Sides Now, and Yerg's Tonight. He does an excellent job telling the stories of various people who blew the whistle on the Trump administration and their reasons why, personal and professional, as well as the consequences that these people paid to get the truth to the public. Check out the Whistleblowers on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The July date that he mentioned is from 2023, and season 1 is complete. It's excellent, and it's still very relevant, probably now more than ever. So I certainly recommend that you give it a look. See you again.
All right. Don't forget show notes at yergs.com. Show notes at yergs.com. You can find out wherever we're at, also at yergs.com, as well as mastiff.media. I think I can put that up here too somewhere. There we go. Show notes and other info, yergs.com, and I put www in front of this because I don't think a lot of people are aware of the .media thing. But mastiff.media, another website. It's the parent company. And yeah, that's us. So let's do the no, I want to save that for the end. Yeah. I gotta pull this on my phone. All right, let's do it. The local news. I kind of wanted to make a point. Some of the, let's see, Republicans here in Florida are very critical. And I gotta make some payments when I get some money out of that FEMA and stuff. Republicans here in Florida can be very critical. And I gotta find this story now. I probably deleted it. I gotta find the link. Let me see something here. There was a story about part of the local news that I'm going to start doing. I'm just going to say DeSantis lawyer quits. Yeah. Ron DeSantis runs on keeping Florida free. And he's doing this for a barrage of people who are outright asshats. So his attorney for his health department quit because he's like, I'm not going to go threatening all these TV stations who are exercising political rights and responsibilities, as well as their own First Amendment rights, that are airing this ad that's countering to what you want to do. And that's Amendment 4. I'm going to try to find a source that we all love. Looking for like Associated Press or something. But Tampa Bay Times, DeSantis health lawyer resigned to avoid threatening more TV stations. Miami Herald, The Intercept, ABC News, Tampa Bay. And this lawyer says, a man is nothing without his conscience. It has become clear in recent days that I cannot join you on the road that lies before the agency. Bloomberg Law News, New Law Republic, MSN, Miami Herald, the New Republic. We talked about that one. I'm looking for like Associated Press or something else, but I mean, it's all over the place. This guy's resigned because of he's got a conscience. He's like, I'm not doing your dirty work. And what's fascinating, that's the same word that Kamala Harris used to describe the fact that Trump still has a career in anything. What's fascinating about this whole scenario with Florida is that he's run previously. He's about to term out, thank God. But I think he can actually come back after seeing a term out, something like that. Corruption is what got that. Nothing else. He's run about keeping Florida free. You're banning books. You're worried about drag queens. And yet, who do we have getting arrested constantly by the Republican sheriff departments throughout the state? Other Republicans for child trafficking. Whoops. White Republicans. So there's your migrant argument. There's your drag queen argument. Although I can't help but wonder if some of them are actually also drag queens. None of them are who you told us, Ron DeSantis, they would be. And finally, his attorney for the health department, who was they were trying to muscle a lot of these TV stations into not carrying this Amendment 4, vote yes on Amendment 4 TV commercial. What if we actually have... I wonder if we can play this. I'm going to try and share. There we go. Is that not a... So the Miami Herald did a screen grab of YouTube, of the video. It's not an embedded video. It's just a screen grab. Psych. And there's a bunch of other reality checks that we'll definitely get to. If you're seeing the screen that I'm reading. See if I can find that. Let's go on YouTube quick. Okay. Internet's going slow. Here we go. Amendment 4. Here we go. Boom, dum, dum. They never put the community.
It's a debate that's drawn protests from both sides of the aisle. In fact, a leak of a Supreme Court draft in May of 2022, prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned, ignited rallies in downtown Jacksonville. Abortion is on the ballot in Florida this election cycle. The text of Amendment 4, titled Amendment to Limit Government Interference with Abortion, reads, "No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health, as determined by the patient's healthcare provider." Currently, abortion is legal in Florida up to 6 weeks into the pregnancy. That dropped from 15 weeks when Governor Ron DeSantis signed what's known as the Heartbeat Bill behind closed doors in April of 2023. Until 2022, abortion was legal in Florida up until 24 weeks into the pregnancy. One of the criticisms of the amendment is that it would allow minors to have abortions up until the 24th week of pregnancy without a parent being notified. However, that is not true. The amendment text states that the amendment would not change Article 10, Section 22 of the Florida Constitution, which states a parent or guardian must be notified before a minor's pregnancy is terminated. Amendment 4 is supported by the Florida Alliance of Planned Parenthood affiliates, who said, "The opportunity for Floridians to end this government-manufactured public health crisis and get politicians out of our personal, private decisions once and for all by passing Amendment 4 couldn't come at a more pressing time." However, college students at UNF, who are part of the organization Students for Life, oppose Amendment 4.
I believe abortion takes the life of a child, and it's not just a couple cells. It's not a choice. It is a life, and we need to do everything in our power to protect life.
Amendment 4 has even reached the presidential campaign trail. Before she was the Democratic candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke in Jacksonville on
Isn't
the day
she
the
so lovely?
6-week abortion ban took effect.
We trust women. We trust women to know what is in their own best interest.
Republican candidate and former President Donald Trump told NBC in August that he feels abortion should be decided on a state-by-state basis.
Well, I think the 6 week is too short.
No.
It has to be more time, and so and I've told them that I want more weeks.
Amendment 4 will pass if it receives at least 60% of the vote. Reporting in Jacksonville, Rich Donnelly, First Coast News, on your side.
Sorry, I had to have some of that popcorn. I'm jonesing. All right, gang, that's it for today. 99.1 WDJY, 1490 WWPR. We're going to lose you in a second, so we'll see you again tomorrow. Later on. Food.